If you're a resident living north of Riverside Drive in St. George, chances are you are a St. George City utility customer.
We serve north of the Virgin River. That's a rough estimate. So Sun River is in Dixie Power territory. Bloomington is in the Dixie Power territory. And we have roughly 34,000 metered customers.
The City of St. George's power supply comes from diversified sources to keep costs as low as possible.
We have a blended resource portfolio. So some of our power comes from coal, hydro, solar, natural gas, and we also buy a certain smaller percentage on the market, and we don't always know exactly where that is going to come from, but we try to make sure our portfolio is very diversified.
Just like other publicly owned power companies, St. George Energy Services watches the market daily and even hourly to see what they might have to supplement with their own power-making resources.
We have a natural gas facility here in the St. George area, our Mill Creek Natural Gas Facility, and that is our own facility and we generate it. We use that a lot in the summer. We have some smaller diesel-fired generation that we can run under if we need it in a pinch. We also have a small amount of hydro. The Mountain Springs generates hydro, and that was actually the first power source for St. George, and we continue to get power from the Mountain Springs, which are the springs in Pine Valley that come down, and we generate power for it, and then it goes into our water supply as well.
Because summer loads are higher due to air conditioning needs, the supply and demand goes up.
Our winter load is about 100 megawatts. Our summer load is usually 200 to 210 megawatts, so double it. And so that is why that natural gas is really available for us to run in the summer, and it can follow our load. We can ramp it up a little bit at a time and it can follow the load.
Another source which St. George put in place nearly 15 years ago is solar. SunSmart was new in its day, generating solar power from a solar farm in which private investors have purchased.
SunSmart is a 250 kW, so very small solar farm, but as long as they lived in St. George, they could buy into SunSmart, and they could buy a unit which was a kilowatt of capacity or a half of unit, or they could buy up to 5 units. And then every month they get a credit on their bill based on how much the entire facility generates and how much they participate.
Although the solar panels aren't physically located on the property of the users, it's still part of their portfolio.
We started it in 2009, it went online, and it was a 19-year contract. So it is nearly completed as far as what we expected its life to be. And between Dixie Power and the City of St. George Energy Services, we need to decide, are we going to continue using it after the end of that 19 years, or maybe we need to revamp it and put new solar panels on. But in addition, a contractor has built a 2 megawatt solar farm in that same area out in Bloomington, and St. George has contracted with that solar contractor to buy some power from their facility in order to augment what we have as a solar part of our overall energy portfolio.
Like other companies, the cost of power has gone up. Based upon those increases, St. George Power has also had to increase its base fee.
And we're probably middle of the road. We're lower than some and higher than others. But it comes down to we have to establish a rate that covers our costs and allows us to maintain the reliability that we're really proud of. We have a 99.9% reliability rate, and we want to stay reliable.
The base fee in St. George recently raised to $25 a month.
It was about 2% across the board, and we did that. We did the cost of service study in December, further analyzed it in January, and then requested the rate increase around February, so it became effective, I believe, in the first billing period in March.
And due to a wet winter, the hydropower is doing much better than expected this year.
We've had one really lovely wet winter. It'd be great if we could have 3 or 4 or 10 in a row, but we'll have to see what next winter brings. There's a lot of demands on the Colorado River system, and power is one of the many.
While St. George City is a member of UAMPS, it is not a direct contributor to a proposed nuclear option in Idaho. Fleming said summer is the most critical time of year to save energy here. Setting your thermostat to 78 degrees to cut down on air conditioning bills will help.
And I say that to customers, and I hear a lot of groaning because that's too hot for them. But for every degree lower than 78, you basically increase your power use by about 1%.
Much of the credit for the success of the St. George Energy Department's efficiency comes under the direction of Lori Mangum, who is now retiring.
She has worked well with 3 city managers now and several different councils. She served on American Public Power Association's board on their nominating committee, and they've just done a search for a new CEO, and she was on the search committee. She's worked with the Colorado River Energy Distributors Association, CREDA. She's worked with UAMPS as a board member with UAMPS. She's done a lot in her career that is not just running a utility, but she's done other educational and service positions as well.
The city will be looking to replace her position in July. In St. George, Melissa Anderson, Community Education News.